Welcome to the very first episode of our series, Innovate to Drive Equitable Access and Success, Ideas. This series invites thought leaders in business, politics, journalism, and other fields to share their insights on the innovative tools and equity strategies we need to transform our communities. We must expand our ideas of the public good beyond categories of housing and food to education and training that will prepare individuals for jobs with family-sustaining wages. This will allow them to make active contributions to their community. Throughout the series, we will examine how our guests' work intersects with the college's transformational aspirations of access, completion, and post-completion success in order to advance our shared values. Each of our guests holds a unique lens on building opportunity and encouraging equity in our communities. Ms. Allen-Herring's leadership of the United Way of the National Capital Area is a stellar example of the vision that is so valuable in our current climate. I'm going to ask Ms. Adora Wigwe to come up and introduce Ms. Rosie Allen-Herring, and then we will proceed with the conversation. So, Ms. Wigwe.
Good morning. That said, today's guest is Ms. Rosie Allen-Herring. She currently serves as the President and Chief Executive Officer of United Way of the National Capital Area. To this role, she brings international expertise on public and private partnerships, philanthropy, and business strategy. Ms. Allen-Herring has a reputation as a thought leader with a track record of convening public and private entities. She also leverages talents and resources, creating collective impact in communities across the region. With more than 30 years of experience, she has worked in areas of corporate finance, strategic leadership, corporate philanthropy, and community investment. Among other positions, she has had leadership roles at Fannie Mae, Housing and Community Development, and the Washington, D.C. Community Business Center. During her tenure at Fannie Mae, Ms. Allen-Herring managed key business strategies, resulting in investments of over more than $2 billion. She also serves on boards of directors for local business and civic organizations. Her deep civic engagement has earned her a plethora of awards and accolades over the years. Ms. Allen-Herring holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Economics from Howard University, a Master's in Business Administration from Strayer University. Ms. Allen-Herring is also a graduate of the Harvard Business School Strategic Perspectives in Nonprofit Management program. She's also the regional director for the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Montgomery College is very grateful for your presence today, Ms. Herring. Please help me welcome Ms. Rosie Allen-Herring.
Thank you, Ms. Wigwe. And thank you, Ms. Allen-Herring, for being here today. It's such an absolute pleasure.
Dr. Williams, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about the conversation today.
Yeah, as are we, a pillar in our community, throughout so many communities, both nationally and internationally. Again, just can't express the amount of gratitude we have for your presence today. And our first question, let's just hop right in about your professional path, right? And thinking about that professional path, I think it's really important. Would love to hear how your personal values shaped that just awesome professional path and trajectory that you saw throughout your life.
Wow. What a way to start. So good morning again. I don't think my path is pretty much any different. I think we have, my sister, Dr. Ivy Allen, is here with me. I'm the youngest of 10. So when you're the youngest of 10, a lot of smart brains in the house. My older sister went to college at like 15, and she just retired as the first African-American Supreme Court Justice in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And in between her and me, Ivy is a Columbia PhD, we got Harvard, whatever. And so by the time you get to number 10, it really is about what are you going to do with yourself? and so for us, we're from the Deep South. We were born and raised in Mississippi. And so that shapes who we are, and it shapes, honestly, the generations that are just in our sibling family, because my older sister is 20 years my senior. She sees Mississippi in a very segregated Jim Crow society. I see Mississippi and more integrated by the time that I had come along. So I think we're shaped by our environments of where we come from, but education for us was an equalizer, because we didn't realize, of course, we weren't rich, we didn't have wealth, but we had the ability to be able to think for ourselves, and our parents encouraged us on the education journey. So that was our equalizer. It shapes who we are as a family, and certainly it's something that I consider to be extremely important.
Well, thank you for sharing personal trajectory, and that resonates with me as well, having a father who's from North Carolina. So let's pick up, and there's a lot of things you fast forwarded there. That was definitely focused on the values, but so many roles that you could have shared. So we'll fast forward to your current role, and we talk a great deal about the impact of partnerships, right? And
Right.
a lot of places and spaces where I see you, it's like all about partnerships and
Absolutely.
the impact of partnerships. So can you talk about some of the strategies that you use to form partnerships in your current role, and just why do partnerships matter so much?
I don't think that there's anything that's monumental that can be done by one entity, because the challenges are sometimes universal, and all of them require a multi-source solution. And so when I think about partnerships, that's the business of getting things done. Because there's no one person who has all the answers, no one entity that can get it done. And so when I approach partnerships, it really is in the spirit of how do we bring the best thought leadership solutions to the table for some of the toughest challenges. And when you recognize that everyone has an opportunity to bring something to the table, then it's no, pride of authorship around who gets the credit, if you will. But more importantly, how do we move the needle on this particular challenge? So at Your United Way, and that's what I call it, Your United Way, we work to earn your trust every day. And so it's around who else are we partnering with? And so we look for people who are doing great work. And some of the things that we care about, we look at where can we slide in and partner. Sometimes we lead, sometimes we follow. And so when we think about partnerships, it's simply the essence of how you get things done, recognizing that you can't do it alone.
Yeah, and thank you so much, and I so much appreciate many of the things that you shared. Sometimes we lead, sometimes we follow. It really is about the impact that we can create together through partnerships. So thank you. And this is kind of a point of personal privilege, and I would say just as an opportunity, I didn't know about what I'm going to share until I met you, right? And I appreciate you so much for many things, and also for this, and that is the fact that the United Way of the National Capital Area is currently focused on ALICE, right? Our ALICE households, which I will read so I make sure I get it right. Asset limited, income constrained, employed, right? So now our audience knows what ALICE stands for. But what does ALICE actually mean?
Sure. Again, you gave the acronym for it. It's something that we consider to be our equity movement, if you will. ALICE, when you think about it, asset limited, income constrained, but employed, these are many of our friends, our neighbors, our family members who are literally going to work every day. But because we live in this metropolitan area that is so high cost, that it really sometimes takes much more to make ends meet. So we are very data-driven and evidence-based in the way that we look at our work to ensure that we're having the impact and we're going where the need says we must be. When we started analyzing, and we do a report every 2 years on the ALICE data to make certain that we're moving the needle or it's telling us where we need to go. What we found is there are 1.3 million individuals in this region, because we are a high-cost region, but we also had to look at the federal poverty lines where you can get assistance. It hasn't been changed since the 1960s. Wow. So when you think about the federal poverty level is at one level, but then what it really truly takes to live is at this level. No assistance beyond this level. You make $1 more, no assistance, but you don't make enough to just make ends meet. What happens to the people in the middle? And again, many times these are individuals who are going to work every day. Many of them may be our colleagues that we don't realize, because they may not be homeless, quote unquote, as we define it, literally on the street, but they're couch surfing. They are living with family members, friends here or there. It's most destabilizing for children who could be changing schools 4 times a year. And so when you think about it, it has a face, it has a name, it's there, and because we live in this area, where it takes so much to just simply make ends meet, someone could literally be going to work every day and still can't make ends meet.
And thank you for that. Work, school, all the places and spaces where they travel. I think about our most recent survey in regards to basic needs. 36% of our students
Yes.
had experienced food insecurity in the last 30 days.
That's huge.
36,
30 days.
36,
I mean, that's recent.
yeah,
That's now.
in the last 30 days, right? So the last time we administered that survey, in the last 30 days, 36% of our students in Montgomery County, overwhelming majority of our students, Montgomery County, very affluent. So when
Very.
we talk about this 1.3 million individuals in the region, we see it at Montgomery College day in and day out. So sometimes we lead, sometimes we follow. All about impact through partnership. Could you share a little bit more about what United Way is doing to really help address these disparities that we see in education and economic opportunity and health?
Absolutely. Montgomery College, you talked about this is a pillar in this region, not just in Montgomery County. Montgomery College is a pillar in this region, and I thank you for your leadership, Dr. Williams. When we think about what we look to do at your United Way, there are three things. There are three strategic pillars that we work through. One is education, one is health, and one is economic mobility. We can't be all things to all people. We can't be everywhere. So, I love the arts like anyone else does, but we leave that to some of our other colleagues in the region to take care of. I love animals, but we can't make that the pillar. So when we think about, education, we know, again, part of our data, we've made a significant investment in middle school success because we want them to get to college and career ready. And so what we found, of course, there was a lot of research and a lot of data that talked about high school graduation rates. And we also, it's sexy to have the little kindergartner hanging on your knee because then it's like, okay, early childhood. Nobody was talking about middle school. Now, before I date myself and use this analogy and say, I grew up on the Brady Bunch. And so the middle daughter, Jan, and it was always in her mind, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. And so it's really about, but nobody was thinking about the middle school. And so we decided to go there because the data told us that if you were able to get students on grade level, academically and socially successful leaving middle school, they were 4 times more likely to actually graduate from high school. And we start counting high school graduation rates in the 11th and 12th grades, but most dropouts occur 9th and 10th. So your numbers are skewed before you even start to count. So we made an investment in middle school success because we thought that was the jump off point that got us there. Then under health, of course, in the middle of COVID, everybody was heightened around the disparities around COVID in terms of, individuals that had a disproportionate, most communities of Black and brown communities had a disproportionate impact of what they were seeing and who was actually getting COVID, why they were getting COVID, because they had to still go to work. They don't go to work, they don't get paid because they have those types of jobs. They had to take the risk for their families, but they were more susceptible. And then with the health disparities in most of the lower wage communities where there's a high propensity for high blood pressure, high propensity for diabetes, those were the underlying conditions that we found from the health community that was saying, these are the people who die. And so just in the District of Columbia, they had 8 out of 10 had those kinds of underlying conditions, and they were the ones who were dying. So when you think about it, again, that was just in COVID that people became aware of it. It had already been an issue. I always say COVID simply exacerbated issues that already existed, and the inequities were there. And finally, I will simply say, under economic mobility, we have what we call financial empowerment centers. These are one-stop shops across this region where individuals can come in for a plethora of services, and you can take 1, you can take 80, whatever you need, it's there. It's all free and available to you. I fundraise for this literally every year. We're in our 8th year of doing this, and we have 5 centers. The first one on the campus of your counterpart, Prince George's Community College. The second one in Fairfax County on the Route 1 corridor in Alexandria. The third one was Prince William County. The fourth one was the District of Columbia. And the fifth one that we opened in the middle of COVID right here in Montgomery County at the Workforce Center. So again, we try to make certain that we're looking across the region, but we also want to ensure that those services that range from tax help to if you want to open a business, we help you do a business plan. If you need credit help, if you need housing help, if you need workforce, jobs, prep, we do it all. And we try to offer that to the communities wherever we are.
Wow. Well, thank you. And everything we're talking, I think, is just centered around equity.
Absolutely.
Right. And when we think about that, I wonder if there's I don't say a finer point because there's so many components that you've shared with us, what does that look like? The more equitable region.
I think it's more, I don't want to call it altruistic, I don't want to call it idealistic. I think it's really where we see the data points say that there is not so much need because we are equitably, ensuring that everybody has a fair chance at the table. We know that life is never going to be equal. That's why people sometimes confuse equality with equity. And there's an analogy, I don't know if you've ever seen that graphic of the people looking over the fence. One person needs 3 seats, another person only needs 1. And so it's simply meeting people where they are, recognizing that we start at different places, but there's an opportunity for us to simply say, okay, I need you to be okay in order for me to be okay. I can't win and you lose, because then we both lose together. And so equity is simply not taking away from anyone, not saying that someone is more important than anyone else. It's simply saying, how do we equitably distribute the resources to ensure that the community is covered?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll pick up kind of a mashup, another host who's done this far longer than I have and has a lot more experience and higher ratings. But I use it in terms of equity when I'm sharing with people in a group, and I'll look at the group and I'll say, the surprise, there's a present underneath your chair. Like you get a present underneath your chair, right? And I say, it's a pair of shoes. And it's like, all right, and everyone, you just open a brand new pair of women's size 9 shoes. And I look at the audience and
now I'll wear them.
they're like, right? I will not. And so for the people who those shoes fit really, really well, everyone's been treated equally.
Absolutely.
Everyone had the same thing. There's a lot of people in the room who are not going to fit in those shoes.
That's right.
So then,
Is it really a gift?
Is it really equitable?
No.
You all got the same thing, but is it really what you needed at that time? Right. So it's another thing that makes me reflect on the
No,
fence.
I love that analogy. I'm going to use it. I'm just telling you. I'll give credit where credit is due, but I'm going to use it.
I appreciate that. So when you think about, and you mentioned the middle school, and love to hear some of your reflections on what has been learned, because obviously Montgomery College and post-secondary education, what insights have you seen, have your team shared with you that you can share with us to help us, really enhance, we have transformational aspirations,
Absolutely.
access, completion, post-completion success. And when we think about access, creating a college-going culture, we want individuals to engage in credentials of economic value that lead to economic, social, and community impact, family-sustaining wages. So what have you gleaned by working with and engaging middle schoolers that would help us create and enhance a college-going culture and access?
Now, first and foremost, what you all do in building the pipeline is nothing short of remarkable, because what you give are many of our young people the opportunity for hope, and we also give a lot of our young people a pathway in terms of their future. So I'll thank you there to start with. But one of the things that we saw when we first started in the middle school work was people tend to think that it was just about academic success. And it was like, can you just help? Is it more of an after school, tutoring program? And it was so much more than that. When you are embedded in these school environments and you're able to see where these children are coming from, many of our young people, especially many of our middle school students, Dr. Williams, I was floored at the level of adult issues that they were dealing with. Many of them were, dealing with their siblings. They were taking on responsibility. Many of them were in households with a grandparent doing a second act, of taking care of their children. And then we came to understand you cannot deal with a child when they're only in the school. You have to meet them where they are. So if they're coming from food insecurity, then we now have to bring backpack programs to send food home with these children for the weekends. You then have to understand that, the grandparent who thought he or she was done with the workforce, now having to enter the workforce, they may need additional skill sets or certifications. The partnership with entities like Montgomery College help them get back into the workforce or career change and things of that nature. It's everything from whatever it takes for them at that household, because many of our teachers and our educators, who are rock stars in my mind, have to deal with so much more than whether or not little Johnny or little Susie is ready to read. If she can't, then we got to understand why, because she's hungry, she's tired, she's been doing things that most young people should not have the responsibility to do. So when we meet them where we are, then we try to bring some of those well-rounded solutions, if you will, to this particular table to help them be successful. And that's what we had to learn. So it's not about dictating, oh yes, we're going to bring this to you, and we assume that you like those pair of shoes, that this is all you need, when you find out it's so much more. And when you're able to cater, tailor solutions based on what the true need is, then you find the success will come.
Thank you for that, and that really resonates, and it's extremely helpful as we move forward, not only as Montgomery College, but I think as a county and as a region. And I think about some of the things you shared, and we administer several surveys, so I'm going to throw out a range here, but 14 to 18% of our students are parenting.
Wow.
Right.
That's a whole nother.
They're right. So I'm really proud of the two-generation, multi-generation approach that the college has taken with so many resources. We have about 150 countries that are represented.
Wow.
Like 10% of our students are international students, roughly, right?
I love it.
We're the only federally designated Hispanic serving institution in the state of Maryland.
Wow.
Community college or state university, right?
That's huge.
So, and one in four of our students identify as Black. Like, we are extremely diverse. So what you share resonates so much in terms of meeting people where they are, identifying what people need in an equitable way, and then helping people identify and achieve their goals. So thank you for kind of reaffirming that and giving us kind of more energy on that pathway. I will have a few more questions before we open it up to the audience.
And the affirmation goes both ways, just so that you know.
Well, thank you. What are some things, and individuals are here, obviously, that individuals listening to our conversation now or in the future can do to help reduce disparities? And we talked about, and we can stick with the three of health and education and economic opportunity. What are some things?
I think that, again, when we think about building community, I always operate from the standpoint that everybody can do something. We always tend to think, if I'm not a millionaire or a billionaire, that somehow I can't contribute. Everyone can do something. And because we all care for community, it's simply doing one thing. If you have an investment, certainly share it with us so that we can make it expand and serve more people, but also become engaged. Sometimes volunteerism, simply bringing a hand to things where you can actually bring humanity to another person in your community. It's volunteerism. Certainly it can be designations or donations, if you will. It's becoming involved, sometimes joining boards of organizations to help them think through. Here at the college you have so much thought leadership, and there's a lot of pro bono services. People tend to think pro bono, they only think of what? Legal. And pro bono goes so many different ways. If you are a tech person, and we got great tech people here who may help a not-for-profit build their website that helps tell and shape their story, that's pro bono. If you are an accountant and you help a non-for-profit do their tax return for free instead of having to pay for a service, that's pro bono, but that's helping. So it's not always hands and hammer and nails experiences. In terms of skills-based volunteerism, I think it's huge and something that we don't always give a lot of credence to. And so it's simply a matter of recognizing that we're all a part of community. We can all do something, no matter how small it is. It all matters, because then collectively we cover, again, the community.
We can all do something no matter how small it is,
no
because
matter how
it all
small.
matters. And just, I appreciate you opening our eyes, kind of opening that aperture of, really giving, right? And the whole idea of pro bono is more than legal. And we think about where we are with technology.
Absolutely.
Right, and how we can offer services. And I know we've heard this in different places. When you were sharing, what's resonating with me is, we hear people say, time, talent, and your treasure. If you have your treasure, right? Because you started with that. You can give if you have that to give. If you have
and believe you me, treasure is needed.
Yes, exactly. we have time and talent. How can we contribute? Ask us one question, and then we'll transition to the audience. So you've received numerous awards for your leadership. Just a few were mentioned. If you could just share some lessons for leadership that you've learned? I know that I've looked at you, just in terms of your leadership role, what you've done, not only at United Way, but also throughout your life. And I think there's a lot that we could glean and gain from the nuggets that you have to share. Just anything.
Leadership nuggets, good grief. I would simply say for us, as a family, we were blessed with the ability in academics, but our parents taught us to always have a sense of service. And so when you recognize that you can do something, everyone can do something, to me, that's leadership. I think that also when you're able to, in my estimation, I define leadership not as management, because I think a lot of times people confuse leadership with management. They think that it's you having all the answers and you telling everyone what to do. I see leadership as the ability to motivate, influence, and inspire others to rise to a level of productivity that perhaps they didn't think that they could, and then they lift everyone else with them. So my job as a leader, or what I think of as a leader, is really being able to motivate and work with others to bring their talents to a table that maybe they may not have been invited to, they didn't think that they could go to, or didn't even know existed, and they're able to bring their whole selves to the work of moving an organization or a particular issue or initiative forward. So leadership is, in my estimation, motivate, influence, and inspire others, because then everybody comes along. We have good management, don't get me wrong, and from time to time we have to manage, meaning that you don't let things fall through the cracks, and you have to get things done, and we're box check people and things of that nature. But I don't see that as leadership. I see that as simply getting it done. We all have to change in those roles from time to time, but leadership is really about how do we move, how do we shift, and you cannot shift without a groundswell, and you need all people on board to make that happen. And when people can feel and see themselves in the work, then people will more than likely come along. And it's not pulling, it's not cajoling, it's not demanding, it's not mandating. It's really about, I'm willingly coming along on this journey beside you, and I believe in it as much as you do, and we're going to bring whatever we can to the table to make it work.
Thank you. Motivate, influence, and inspire. And I want to uplift and amplify something else you shared in terms of getting voices that we don't hear. The ability to actually get people at the table who aren't at the table. Not just, And so I appreciate that. We have a little bit of time. We could talk all day, but I feel I'd be very selfish of me to keep asking you questions, and we have fantastic audience members here. So I'd love to turn it over and take some questions from the audience, because I know a lot of people here are not shy.
I know some people here are not shy.
So we have a little bit of time.
Well, never.
All right.
Yeah. She's doing great.
I can't hold it for you. Oh, okay. Thank you. You
got to introduce yourself too.
Okay. I'm Dr. Denise Simmons Graves. I'm a counselor here at Montgomery College at the Rockville campus, serving now for 33 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Allen-Herring, I'd like to know, in this Women's History Month, if you could speak to the shoulders you stand on, and the female shoulders you stand on, and maybe identify a person or two who's standing on, who you're lifting up.
Ooh. What would I say? So I most people who know me know my mother is my shiro, and I say our mother passed away now almost 3 years ago at the tender age of almost 99. So yes, y'all know I was a change of life baby, but. So I look at her and her model, the way that she modeled for my brothers and sisters and I. But I also think about our ancestors, and what I would love to go back and see is my great-grandmother, who my mother is named after. I'm named after my mother, who's named after a great aunt. So there are 4 Rosies in my family, and my daughter is Nala Rose. So from my perspective, I would love to go through, because they didn't get these opportunities, when clearly the intellect was there. It just, the opportunities weren't in the Deep South. We know what that was like. And so I would love to know what they thought of the future when they were pushing their children along and they were still believing in this country, and they were trying to make life better. I would love to know what was going through their minds. Did they ever think? Did my great-grandmother ever think of what was possible? Did she ever see, my sisters and brothers achieving the things that we achieved? I know she didn't. It wasn't possible. It wasn't in her realm. And then I think about, you asked about those who come behind us. My husband and I have 2 daughters. And I feel like if there's nothing else in this world, if they grow up, and they are young ladies now, to be confident young ladies in the decisions that they have to make, then my work here is done. Because then we know that the next generation is prepared. So as I have the opportunity to engage with young people especially, and I know here on a college campus there are many, it's really about how do we ensure that they understand who they are and okay with it, not defining themselves by anything or anyone else, but just knowing that they're enough. And so for me, it is thinking about my daughter's generation, and now I have some great nieces and nephews, about, why education is still so very much important, and keeping them focused in that way, but giving them a life of opportunity, travel, exposure. That to me is saying that we're taking care of the next generation, and when we do that and we do that well, the future is going to be okay. No, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for your 33 years of service.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Other questions? Other questions? Oh.
Hello, my name is Nikita. I'm a student leader, and I'm about to graduate my computer science degree in Montgomery College.
Right.
So the question I have for you: does the United Way have a anti-racism policy or an approach to its work in the community?
Absolutely, we do. Thank you so much for that question, and thank you for your successful matriculation. I know you're going to do well. Yes, we do. I don't necessarily call it explicit anti-racism, but when we are explicit in our equity, agenda and movement, it simply says that we simply want equity and fairness for all. And when we look at the fact that we're data-driven in the way that we do our programming and the initiatives that we bring forth, it simply says we're looking to go where there is the need. And the need generally, let's be clear and honest, is in a lot of Black and brown communities. And so because of that, it's not about us explicitly saying we're anti-racist and having things twisted and turned. We're simply saying we're going where the need is. And we are unapologetic about that. And so it's a matter of talking it through, with people who may have differing opinions, of which I find to be fascinating at times, because I don't always think it's malice. Sometimes I think it's simply ignorance. And when you're able to have a palatable conversation and say, well, where would you think we should be? If this group is fine, or this particular part of the community is doing well, or that there are resources there, but this side doesn't have it, but we know that there's talent there, we know that there are jobs there, we know that we just simply need to make the connection, why wouldn't we? Generally, when you're having a civil conversation, you're not going to get any big pushback there. So maybe not explicit anti-racism, but we are explicit on the equity agenda. I hope it answers. Thank you.
Congratulations. I'll ask a question while the audience is contemplating. So just the plethora of knowledge, skills, and abilities that you've gained, and just the graduation, and congratulations again, made me think about this. What would you share? What kind of knowledge and skill acquisition do you see is needed for, as you mentioned, kind of like the next generation, people feeling comfortable, like, yes, we have programs in, I was a sociology major and education, but if we talk about skills that we need that complement the education, where do you see that?
Ooh, Lord, you're taking me to a commencement speech.
Oh,
And I've done a couple of them, especially with your counterpart over in Prince George's. I would simply say that you bring, the skill sets that you continue to simply learn. I don't think it's about, yes, there are explicit skill sets that you can go get a certification in. There's an explicit skill set that you may need. I mean, you can't be a surgeon unless you learn how to do medicine. But I think it's a matter of find out what brings you joy, because then it won't feel like work. Then you'll put the time in and you'll get the expertise. Then it's about then how do you plug in to where that need is, just by being open to community. And then you think about who else you can teach that skill set to, and how do you expand your skill sets beyond the one or two things that you say you want to do. You know, one of the reasons why I did, economics as a major as opposed to straight accounting or straight marketing or straight, business, was because I wanted to know how things connected. And economics, in my estimation, connects the world. It's how do we determine, what a gallon of milk costs? How do we determine what a gallon of gas is? What does it mean to be consumer price index? Where does it come from? How do we get to this stuff, as opposed to I'm just walking in a store and I don't know how we got here. Right. And so economics brings it full circle for me, because then I understand all of the pieces that go into making up supply and demand and so on and so forth. And so I'm always going to be that inquisitive person that looks at the big picture but then wants to connect the dots. And I think when we're able to do that, then we understand why one is important at the moment, but also why the other one still must always be at the table. And so when I think about skill sets, it's always about connecting the dots.
Yeah, I appreciate that. They have a deeper appreciation for everything if you can connect the dots.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you also uplifting the continuous learning, the adaptation, the continuous learning, the appreciation of learning and diversity of thought. Thank you. And I've given people, I know, opportunity. Oh, other audience members?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Shatarupa Das, and I'm a professor of economics at the Tacoma Park campus.
All right.
I'm so glad to be here, and the fact that you are here and shared your expertise on service and leadership. And I was so happy to hear that you think of economics giving a big picture of the world. That is so true. Yes. I tell my students every time. So I just wanted to know from you, how is United Way funded? Mm-hmm. And also you talked about healthcare being an important issue, and you focus on the middle school. How do you bring healthcare service to the middle schooler group? How do you know about it? How do you collect that information, and then how do you serve with the healthcare needs? Thank you.
No, thank you, Professor, and thank you for what you do. Because I talk about a lot of the data that we do at Your United Way, we do look at data from every front. And so you mentioned about the middle schools, to know what they need, because we ask. We simply ask. We don't assume anything. We look at data from a plethora of sources. Some of them are the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, could be census data, it could be, we go to the Brookings Institute, we deal with the Urban Institute, we look at surveys, we talk to, and then we simply go into the communities. And so that's where it brings the data to life in terms of who we should be helping and why. That's how we know that if we're finding food insecurity, like you mentioned here at the college, then it's about now what resources can we bring to the table. And it could be pop-up food markets that we bring to those schools on that campus, because that's the trusted source in that community. People are coming there every day. We bring it to you. And so when we talk about how United Way is funded, it's funded only with donations. We don't have a huge endowment. We're not a private foundation. We are literally at the mercy of individuals believing enough in us and us earning your trust for your investment in us every single year. We don't do anything. Every year is a zero-sum game. So for me, that keeps us on our toes, because we have to be trustworthy. We have to be able to demonstrate that we're using the resources for the purpose intended, that you can trust that we're going to do something good with your dollars. These are a lot of times disposable dollars, where people can decide where they want to give, or if they give at all. And so we need that every single year. And it's been tough. Even in the last couple of years, it's extremely tough. But we can't not fulfill the commitment, because once you see it, you know it, you can't unsee it. And so it's everything from bringing the resources there, if we find that to be the case. If there is some, certification courses that need to be had that we can bring, if professors such as yourself can come to the school and do this for these families, for these grandparents, for these parents to help them get a better job that stabilizes their family. When it comes to health care, sometimes it's bringing the mobile vans again to that school with some of our health care providers. We have great, this area, we are so rich in assets. You know, people tend to think of this area as just federal government, and we have to do that. We are an eds and meds town. There are phenomenal institutions of higher learning that are here, Montgomery College among them, but we also have great health care here. And so it's a matter of how do we bring the assets of the community as opposed to if we were rural or if we were in Appalachia or if we were on an Indian reservation where those things, just having the resources at bay to be able to then bring to the table is a challenge in and of itself. It's about us leveraging the assets that we have here, but we have to do it every day with contributions, and we're out having the conversation and hoping that people will join us on the journey. Thank you.
Thank you. No questions. Oh. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Ms. Rosie. Yes, stand up. Okay, I'll stand up. Okay. I'm Maria Savello, so I work for Montgomery College as well. And my question is, you just mentioned something about trust and gaining trust. Mm-hmm. How do you build that with not only the people you serve, but also partners? Sure. How do you create partnerships? What have you found is the best effective way to do that?
Sure. Well, thank you for the question. And it's one of those things where you have to be who you say you are. We all have a persona. I mean, you know, I walked in, I saw my picture on a couple of posters, and I was like, who is that? But I believe that at the end of the day, it's about character. And you know, I have to have my personal character, but our organization has to have its character as well for others to believe in and trust in us. And when I say earn it, every day we have to earn it. It is not assumed. It's not taken for granted. And you earn it by showing up and being who you say you are. If you say you're going to help, you find a way. If you say you're going to do something, you must do it. If you're going to be in partnership, you stick with it. And so it's not easy to do that, but I think that part of the character, building the character of an organization and an individual is simply being who you say you are. You know, we all have brands. Montgomery College has a brand of being a top-notch educational institution. Dr. Williams is a top-notch educator with a rich history, long history. And I had the privilege of watching him being stalled as your president. I could not have been more proud. I watched his kids mull around, but I also saw a family, you know, your brother, your wife, that were extremely excited for you. And because of that, he brings a brand to this institution. You had a brand before he came. The two should now meet, and then you find that they're integral with one another. And so United Way has a brand, a 130-year-old brand, that means that, you know, when you walk in the door, people should trust that the help is on the way. I have a brand of being in corporate America for 25 years and then making the leap to the not-for-profit sector because I felt like I could do well and do good, and you can bring your business acumen. I call it the business of philanthropy, quite honestly, because most people assume philanthropy is all about head and heart, and it's sometimes it's about, you know, the business as well. So I believe that trust comes from simply showing up, but being there, you know, doing what you say you're going to do, and really trying to bring a solution to the table. I don't think you can overstate it. I don't think you can understate it. I don't think it's magic. I think it's simply having integrity.
And having been in so many, in different sectors, and I say that for me being primarily education and nonprofit sectors, and thank you for that response. I wonder if you've experienced what I'm about to share, which is I have experienced that trust. Also, to complement everything you said, is extremely challenging to gain and extremely easy to lose. Has that been,
Absolutely.
As a leader, you're...
I've seen it, and I've lost it in a couple of people, and I'm not perfect. You know, we all struggle with who we define ourselves to be every single day, and so I always say it's not who you are, it's on the journey of who you're becoming. because every day you get an opportunity to get it right, to be better, to recognize, what didn't go well and what we could have done differently. And anybody who doesn't ever take the time to self-assess doesn't really want to know. And so and that says something by itself too. So I believe that we are all simply just on a journey. I believe that I think even in my years now of recognizing, I know why I'm on this earth. I'm okay with that. I don't have to have all the answers. I simply will try. And every day it's another opportunity to do so.
That's great. Every day is another opportunity to do so. Thank you, thank you. Other, I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions before we wrap up.
What's happening on the campus? I want to know. What are you thinking?
You want to know? Okay, we can take you over. So we have a math and science building that is going to be completed very, very soon, just kind of on the punch list, right across the way, right here.
I love it.
Catherine and Isaiah Leggett, Math and Science Building. You're
I love it.
familiar with them. We all are. We have a 55,000 square foot standalone facility that is going to open April 1st in East County.
Wonderful.
So our really big
That is
anchor,
fantastic.
Yep. So thankful for the team members. So, our big kind of anchor in the East County will be there and present come April 1, not an April Fool's joke. So those are two big components. We already have an IT course that is filled there. We'll be co-locating. We have a space for WorkSource Montgomery. So again, what the community needs and being, as you said, you say our United Way, we always say we are the community's college.
Absolutely.
Right, we are your community's college, right?
I love it.
So those are a few of the big things that are going on. There's always a lot more, but those are some really big things. One more question for Ms. Rosie Allen-Herring before I invite her to share any final thoughts. All right. Yes.
Hi, Rosie. So glad to have you here. I'm Adora Wigwe with the Refugee Training Center here at Tacoma Park. You've been with United Way for quite some time, and I've known you in your other previous roles. What would you like your legacy to look like when you are done? Right? You've done a lot, and you have a lot more to do, but what would you like that to look like?
Ooh, that's the tough one. I don't necessarily know. Because you don't see yourself as legacy. At least I don't. I don't think I've done enough. I know that there is more, but I have a healthy sense of self, and I know I'm okay with my mortality, so to speak. So as I think about my daughters, if they saw me, because you have a public persona, I've had the opportunity to do some great things, but after I'm Rosie Allen-Herring, CEO or board chair or regional director or what have you, when I go home, I have a husband who loves me and who doesn't care about any of those other titles. I have two daughters who joke with me, about can I have my mom today and not the CEO today? I've got to talk to you. And when I can do that and when I have my siblings, I know what's important. So I want my legacy to be one where she tried, she saw, she came through, and someone who can make her ancestors proud. If I can do that, and some answers I'll get from those who are here, the ancestors I won't get until I see them again, if I know that I've made that good transition, then I think, my purpose has been fulfilled. Thank you. You had to make me think about that. You never think about yourself that way. So,
thank you for that final question. At this point in time, it's been an absolute pleasure, Ms. Rosie Allen-Herring. I would love to just provide an opportunity for you to share any final thoughts that you may have before I close us out.
Well, let me just start with saying thank you. Thank you to this phenomenal institution for what you do every day and serving others and changing minds and growing minds and educating minds and building communities. Let me say thank you to everyone in here who has a place and a part in making that happen. Dr. Williams, thank you for your leadership and taking on this part of Montgomery College's journey to ensure that the legacy continues. I want to thank us all as a community and encourage us as a community to continue to come together because the needs that are very much there can simply only be solved with the work that we bring collectively to it. And I simply want to make a commitment that your United Way every day will seek to earn your trust in doing this work of serving this larger body. And sometimes we won't get it right, but no one will try harder. And you have my personal commitment to simply try to be the best Rosie that I can be on this journey in partnership with individuals such as yourself, entities such as this, and those all along the way who simply care for community. I simply challenge us to simply make the most of this moment. Let's meet this moment because our communities and many people who are nameless and faceless, who are outside of these walls, who won't have these opportunities, are simply counting on us to get it right. And so I thank you for the opportunity to share with you today. I hope that something that I've said has been meaningful or what have you, and that you'll allow me to continue to keep the partnership going. With that, you have my heart and I'm grateful to you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for the entire conversation and the conversations that we've had prior to this, the conversations that we will have after this, and the partnership. And likewise, prior, right now, and in the future. Thank you for being a pillar in our community, in our region, our state, our nation, and internationally. What you do is helping the community thrive. Thank you for being a leader who really leads with equity, who leads with conviction, who leads with a purpose, right? To see change in our society. And thank you for seeing people, right? You see people, and that's a personal thank you. You see people, you help people, and that's so very important and deeply appreciated from someone who you've seen and have helped. So thank you. As we transition, I'm going to thank everyone here. I'm going to thank our audience and everyone who helped put this together today. And I can't, huge shout out to MCTV.
Absolutely.
As you see, this is top notch here.
Absolutely.
This is MCTV. So thank you everybody. Thank you again to our guest. I hope that folks will join us next time in Ideas Conversation when our guest will be the CEO for the National Skills Coalition. So thank you very much. And thank you again, Ms. Rosie Allen-Herring.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.